People in southeast Colorado drive all the way to the Capitol to beg the state to keep those prisoners coming. I don't know what's colder, the forecast or the way Mel Tucker did CU. We don't blame him for chasing the dollar, but at what cost? Speaking of the almighty buck, RTD's temporary leader is going to make a lot more of them than their longtime head, and that was expected. And some of the smartest people in Colorado explain one of the weirdest things we've heard.
Every year or two, something really new and different that you can't explain or can't understand happens.
And when it does, it's on next. Leaders from rural Colorado came to the Capitol today to talk about some people who had to stay back home in their communities. They could not come along because they're in prison there. And the folks who came up from Benton and Crowley counties really want to keep those inmates there. Keep them in the private prisons that they say their corner of Colorado cannot survive without. Here's Anusha Roy.
After hours on a Las Animas school bus, this group of county commissioners, teachers, superintendent, and business owners were able to stretch out by walking into the Capitol to try and slow down state lawmakers.
At a VA hospital several years ago, it was closed up. We lost that. We've had our agricultural waters. We had 6,000 acres dried up and the water sold off to a large municipality. And so this is kind of our last hope.
That's how much Democratic Bent County Commissioner Chuck Netherton said his county relies on the private prison there, and why he's worried the state is debating whether to study shutting it down by 2025.
This could very well bankrupt the two small counties of Bent and Crowley.
Also on the bus was a superintendent.
We're worried about declining enrollment. We're also worried about we're a district that's impacted by poverty.
The private prison in Bent County contributes 37% of the property taxes to help keep the county running. It's as high as 54% for Crowley County. A third private prison, Cheyenne Mountain Reentry Center, is set to close in March in Colorado Springs.
Daycare for children would go away. Our senior citizen center would go away.
Unfortunately, people are putting other people's lives or their livelihood ahead of other people's lives.
Democratic Representative Leslie Herod, who's co-sponsoring the bill, said while she hears these concerns,
we're not immediately shutting down those private prisons.
She is committed to eventually shutting them down.
They are not providing the same level of treatment and services like education programs, like mental health treatment.
Which is why her reassurance is that there would be an economic impact study first.
We will probably buy a lot of those facilities back. If we can't figure out how to have a just transition for these communities, we're doing something wrong.
So the people you saw in that photo, they showed up for a 1:30 hearing and started testifying a few minutes before 5. I just checked, they're still testifying right now. And one of the sponsors of the bill at the very beginning of that said, you know, this has been a fast and furious couple of days, even acknowledging that this has been moving pretty rapidly, even for the Capitol.
I think sometimes people might think that prisons are an unwanted thing in communities, where throughout rural America, communities court these prisons because they're a great source of jobs and a stabilizing factor on the economy.
And that is the same case for Bent and Crowley as well, that, you know, the community there said, yeah, bring it in. It's a job opportunity for them. And Representative Herod said, yes, that was the case. But all of these years later, the appetite for private prisons, at least at the state level, has changed, not necessarily at the local level.
All right. Thank you, Anusha. It's another early release day at the Jefferson County Jail. 23 more people walking out early due to budget issues in that county. This is the third wave of releases, 91 inmates in all. The sheriff says that everybody getting out early has served at least half their sentence. You can get fired for a lot of things in Colorado, but having natural hair soon will not be one of them. The State House passed the Crown Act, which bans discrimination for hair texture, hairstyle. State Senate is expected to follow, and you can bet that the governor is going to sign it. A number of Coloradans came out to the Capitol to testify about how their lives were impacted, how their careers were held back based on other people's stereotypes or misconceptions about the way that they wear their hair, how they felt pressured to conform to somebody else's idea of what looks best. CU football has a problem. Their coaches are either so bad they get fired, or the coaches are so good that they don't even unpack their bags before they leave for the next bigger job. Mel Tucker's bolting from the Buffs after just a year there. We hope that he enjoys Michigan State and East Lansing. I hear it's lovely. What is not so lovely is how Coach Tucker handled his exit, promising publicly up until the last minute that he wasn't going anywhere. Here's how that sits with one CU alum, our Chris Vanderveen.
An open letter to Coach Mel Tucker. In a world where no man, no woman is no better, no worse than his or her word, your word carries less weight today to people like Dallas Cowboys great Drew Pearson, the grandfather of a teen you recruited to come to Colorado. Sat there and lied to my face, he wrote. But to those you didn't recruit, to fans like me, I can't say I blame you for taking millions more. Who among us would turn that down, even on principle? Not that that's what I want to tell you today. Honestly, I want to offer an apology. Yes, an apology. I want to say I'm sorry for supporting a sport that feels compelled to pay a coach with a lifetime 5-7 record more than $5 million to work in a place like East Lansing, a town where the median family income is 0.7% of what you'll make this year. Not that they'll mind, as long as you win. Now, fans like me will forgive any coach of any foible as long as they win. All so we can wear our school colors, talk our trash, and feel a sense of pride for being a winner in a competition that involves none of us. And for that privilege, we will pay any price, millions if need be, all for a sport that still has yet to pay the people who have the most to risk. You know, the players. Players like the ones who willingly took you on your word in the weeks and months before you took a plane out of this state.
CU made a smart choice for its interim head coach, elevating assistant head coach Darren Shiverini. He played there. He's respected there. The man wants to be there. I mean, what do I know? But that kind of sounds like the thing that you would want in a permanent head coach. RTD is threatening the contractor that's currently building the long-delayed end line up to the northern suburbs. RTD is saying that if they don't pick up the pace, RTD will declare them in default of the contract. This latest fight between RTD and somebody who's building or running its trains is over the end line, the line approved by voters in 2014. Scheduled to open in 2018. Check your calendars. That's right. Still not open. 2020 is on the clock. An RTD executive told a community meeting that he would resign if they can't open it by the end of 2020. Well, it looks like August is the earliest that could happen now. But don't you worry about that RTD leader. When we asked the agency if they would accept his resignation, they wouldn't give us a straight answer. The man who is taking over all of RTD temporarily is going to make a ton more than the longtime leader who's leaving the job. RTD's elected board approved Paul Ballard's contract last night. His base salary will be $350,000. That's $55,000 more than Dave Genova. He made $295,000. One of RTD's elected directors who helped negotiate that contract tells us they're actually pretty comparable when you consider the benefits that Genova got as the permanent guy, benefits that a temp CEO doesn't receive. The American Public Transit Association says that RTD is the 16th largest transit agency in America. We looked at the salaries for all of the 16 leaders today and found that $350,000, it's about average. And the director who helped negotiate the deal told us it's not unusual to have to pay a temporary leader more. DIA really wants us to stop calling the big blue horse sculpture Lucifer. Airport tweeted out yesterday asking everybody to wish a happy birthday to Mustang. But what they put there was a picture of Lucifer. You know Lucifer. I know Lucifer. Perhaps you don't know that Lucifer's artist, Luis Jimenez, did actually name him Mustang, the name that the airport uses. Perhaps you also don't know that the creation killed the artist. A piece of it fell on him. His family and several members of his staff finished his work. So at least here now, we'll call it Mustang for a day and wish it a happy birthday. It was installed February 11, 2008, terrifying tourists and Coloradans alike for 12 years. A big-time political endorsement out of Denver. I can't say it's surprising, but it certainly is telling. Some of you are none too happy with how we covered the presidential campaign of Senator Michael Bennet. So let's talk about it. And the Coloradans who listen to space are hearing the oldies.
You're seeing them, or in this case, hearing them in the radio waves a billion years in the past.
A space mystery. Next. Mike Bloomberg isn't picking up delegates in the Democratic primary process yet, but he is piling up what money and power can buy, like the TV commercial you just saw, and staff in Colorado, and big-time endorsements. Today, one of the most significant names in Denver politics got on board with Bloomberg, former Mayor Wellington Webb. Webb has been named co-chair of Bloomberg's Black America Leadership Council, which I will imagine will entail a lot of explaining for Bloomberg's stop and frisk policies in New York City. Webb is a longtime power player in Denver politics, and his support and his endorsement will carry weight. Now, he's also a guy who values loyalty to the Democratic Party, something Bloomberg has not always had, and putting in time in the party trenches, something Bloomberg has not done. We asked Webb directly today why he is supporting Bloomberg. It's pure electability. Webb told us he's the only candidate he thinks can beat King Trump in the general election. We're getting some feedback now on our coverage of Senator Michael Bennet's now defunct presidential campaign. Greg emailed in saying that he was, quote, disappointed in next treatment of Bennett. Craig writes, pretty easy target for unrelenting sarcasm. Meanwhile, the real story of how middle-of-the-road candidates like Bennett, Steyer, Klobuchar, and their inability to gain traction was ignored. We do appreciate the feedback, Craig. Here's the thing. We tried to cover Bennett's campaign from many angles. We had serious conversations about his serious conversations with voters in Iowa and New Hampshire. We traveled there to see those. And we told you about emotional moments, like the campaign through his daughter's eyes. And yes, there was also the gallows humor that surrounds a candidacy that was never attracting voters. In fairness, though, Craig, when you think about it, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, to a lesser extent some other moderate candidates, they have gained traction. They've gained more traction combined than the combined support of the progressives like Sanders and Warren. We did not ignore that as voters ignored Michael Bennet.
Another day, another round of snow in Colorado. I guess we just call this Wednesday. This has been the pattern of late. Right now, roads in Denver are just wet, but we've had some heavier snow reports up north where a snow squall moving through Weld County is producing snowfall rates of about an inch an hour. 33 are high, a far cry from the average of 45. Up near Gilchrist in Weld County, they're seeing some heavy snow right now. Difficult, if not impossible, travel right along this purple to blue shaded area. That line of heavy snow is moving south and southeast, and it's just right to the north of DIA and over the eastern suburbs of Denver. So we're going to watch this pretty closely. Denver remains under a winter weather advisory through 11 o'clock tonight. That's when we'll see rapid improvement and the snow will really taper off. I think here in the city, we're in the 1 to 3 inch range with heavier amounts to the north and off to the west, where they're in the 3 to 6 inch range. And so as we watch these snow bands push south and east, we'll see some clearing after midnight. We get some sunshine tomorrow and a nice pattern shift that'll get you into the holiday on Friday and Monday. No 9 tonight. So we're going to be looking at snow for the next couple of hours. That winter weather advisory through 11, 1 to 3 inches of snow out of here tomorrow. Sunny mid 30s. Beautiful Friday forecast. Good looking weekend. More snow possible Monday into Tuesday. And on the 9 News weather app, you can download that for free on your phone and put that radar right where you are and see exactly where the snow bands are and if they're coming your way.
Our next question comes from a viewer named Vern in Highlands Ranch. After our recent snow, Vern noticed that it was melting off his arbor in a strange way, almost looks like ropes. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen knows what's going on.
It looks like snow clinging to ropes, but it's actually snow taking the shape of ropes. There has to be just the right balance of weather conditions along with perfect timing for something like this to happen. Suzanne Hoffman also saw them this week at her place in Eagle County. The air temperature should be slightly below freezing, but a little dose of direct sunlight must be present to heat the wooden beams, warming the bottom of the snow layer. As the snow starts to sag, the perfect combo of light winds and cold air keeps it from melting completely. Then the sunlight must vanish or the air temperature must drop at just the right time to suspend these snow ropes in place.
Okay, that's wild. That's crazy though, right? If you see nature that doesn't look natural, we have the experts like Corey Reppenhagen who can explain it all. Send your next question to next@9news.com or just flag us with the hashtag HeyNext. What do you think? Is it aliens?
These are probably just ordinary neutron stars or something exotic like that. And it's nothing to do with aliens.
Fine, it's not aliens. But it does explain what we're hearing coming from space. Next. sucker for those stories about unexplained sights and sounds coming from space. Our Noel Brennan went in search of an explanation of the latest phenomenon that is making news and making noise, represented here by the sweet sounds of a theremin.
It reminds a lot of people of UFOs or science fiction monster movies.
Great mysteries of the galaxy are not this easily explained.
A theremin is an electronic instrument that is played without touching. I think everything should sound like a theremin.
You can see Victoria Lundy's theremin is the source of spacey music. But fast radio bursts?
Oh, what?
Those still stump experts.
Well, professor of astrophysics.
Like Michael Shull.
If we knew what they were, there might be a future Nobel Prize in it. They are something very, very obscure.
The professor writes about these bursts of radio emission that last for milliseconds.
And it's very fast, hence fast radio burst.
Radio bursts repeating every 16 days were recently detected by an array of telescopes in Canada.
And those are the exciting ones because when they repeat, you can figure out where they are.
Where they are is 500 million light years away.
So you're seeing them, or in this case, hearing them in the radio waves a billion years in the past.
Cool. It's like contact. Aliens are out there.
The source of the radio bursts might burst the bubble of those looking for ET.
But no, these are probably just ordinary neutron stars or something exotic like that. And it's nothing to do with aliens.
It's still a mystery.
So it's exciting times.
Theories and a theremin are all we have.
I want to know where they're coming from.
For next, I'm Noel Brennan.
So the professor was also telling us about these mysterious repeating radio bursts that were detected at an observatory in Australia once. Turns out it was just people using the microwave in the lunchroom. Coloradans love dogs, but you know what? Too many of them are lazy. They aren't doing their doggy duty, pulling us around on the snow like they can. Some good boys and your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today are not working dogs so much as perhaps, I don't know, hobbying dogs. They're taking a break from lying around to go skijoring through a neighborhood in Inglewood. Kathy sent us this video of her daughter Amelia skijoring with the family dog. She says the older dog, Soda, has been doing this with Amelia since she was just a puppy. The little dog, Tinsit, was just introduced to the sport this week. Bob Myers writes in tonight about the Crown Act passing the state house, prohibiting discrimination against folks based on natural hair like afros. Bob says, I'm scratching my head of natural hair. Why do we waste our tax dollars on this? Bob Myers, I'm going to guess you don't have to do a whole lot to your hair to find societal acceptance.